All right, coffee time, everyone. All right, I thought it would be a good time to discuss a little bit my very tiny studio situation. So, as you may know, I'm located in Hong Kong. I have been here since 2003. I am originally from France, nearby Paris. And so, being in Hong Kong, there is a very special situation, which is that space is really very much a premium. The cost of living is extremely high, and what you get for that extremely high price is very small. There are very few practice room and recording studios, and they are as well extremely tiny. And so I have built very slowly since 2003 my quote-unquote recording studio, keeping in mind that pretty much since I've been here, the rent has increased by about 25% every single year. So almost yearly I have been moving, meaning my entire setup has been moving with me, and it's been evolving, growing. And then, if you've heard of a wonderful virus that we created a couple of years ago in a lab not far from here, in 2019 I've had to do a big move, and it was pretty disastrous, and I've had to sell a lot of the gears from the studio. So now it is a redux of a studio. I have the essential, and through since 2003 I've been figuring out how to record, what to record with, how the recording process happens, and so on. And the one constant that hasn't changed since then is that I've always shared that whatever tiny room I have with my professional job, which is designing, and then my hobbies. So I have to pack a lot of things in a very small amount of space, and this is at the moment what I have to work with. So let me switch the camera. So first thing first, this extremely messy desk. I have my trusty desktop. Those things change from time to time, but I have this for quite a while. I've had those two studio monitors, which are Roland's DS8, since, wow, I can't recall, 2006, 2007, something like that. If I'm mixing, I will plug in the X-Touch. At the moment I'm not, so the desk is free, because that desk has to be for my drawing, my illustration, my design work. Sometimes I need to put the Wacom tablet on, so this has to be mobile, and then sometimes I just have to game as well. Recording wise, I go through my Motu 828 MK3, a very ancient sound card, but it's great. It's got a lot of ins and outs, plus two available in the front, two XLRs. Plugged into MIDI, I will have my Roland. I do have another larger Korg piano outside, but I never used it for recording anything. Drums. That's an interesting thing. If you see very old pictures of ATHAK, you will see me using a hybrid kit where I have acoustic drums, cymbals mixed together with some of that old Roland TD3 electronic drum. The only two times I've recorded acoustically was the very first track for ATHAK, one or two of the tracks of the first full-length EP, and another album, because I have a lot of other musical projects, another album called Piracy tapes, which is under the RK, which is a rock album, and this was recorded in France. That's the only time that I have managed to have a full acoustic setup. That was back 12 years ago. We moved to France we stayed for about a year, and we had a large countryside house, and then I built a booth for the drum. I've managed to record one EP with it, not ATHAK though. I didn't record any ATHAK that year when I was in France. But so everything else of ATHAK has been recorded playing on the Roland and using the Superior Drummer 2 jazz kit from Toontrack. So every single song you hear for ATHAK is through that plugin. Okay, let's go around again. I purchased not very long ago a lemon skinned bass drum pad, thinking that would be more responsive to play than the rubber pads that the TD3 came with for the bass drum, and it ended up being a disaster. It's a terrible pad. It records pretty much every kick double. It has a lot of feedback from everything else in the kit, so it was unusable as a bass drum pad. And I purchased 70 Hong Kong dollars, so like less than 10 euro snare drum stand, removed all the gimmicks that made that pad a kick pad, and it's now snare drum. It is actually really cool to play with. It is really not as good as the Roland pads. There's basically only one zone for the entire snare, and the velocity is fine, but there's only one zone, when this one has the rim, outer, medial, and inside. I think this is 3 or 4 zones for that pad. However, to play, there is a little bit of a body, there is some sound when you're playing it. The feeling is pretty good, and it's large, which is a big change because all my pads are small. So that used to be my snare drum, and it's now relocated to be a tom-tom. The other tom-tom is on the floor back there. I'm planning to replace those 2 tom-toms by 2 10 inches, maybe lemon. We'll see how long these things fare, but the lemon's pads are really cheap, so I'm thinking about it. The regular kit for the TD3 comes with 2 cymbals. You might want to know that this is actually my right cymbal. That's a crash, and this is an Avatar, just a cheapie. So I can control at least 2 crashes when I play. My actual Superior Drummer set has 3 China and then the basic 6 kits that you see here with a free tom-tom. I have a very old Pearl double bass drum, and then a cheap Cats controller to control my hi-hats over there. So I will play some of the tracks on the kit and then work on the MIDI file. And then some other time I will just directly write the MIDI file if it's a drum beat, a drum part that I'm not able to play. So you got to think that all the recording you hear for ATHAK is recorded by myself, except for the flute. On the Primaries, the first movement is recorded by my cousin in the Shanghai Orchestra. That is the only instrument that I haven't recorded myself of all the ATHAK releases. So I'm not able to play everything that I want to hear, so I will write parts in a MIDI file when I'm just not able. I'm not a great musician technically. I'm pretty bad. So that is on the drum setup. All the percussions that you hear will be, I used to have some derbukas and djembes that I don't have anymore. So almost all the time the percussions you will hear will be whatever household item I can find and make a sound with. And yes, this is Gwar. Alright, let's talk about basses. When it comes to basses, the original albums were recorded with a Ibanez Ergodyne that I don't have anymore. A lot of the more recent albums have been recorded on the Epiphone Viola. It is an amazing sounding bass on flat wound strings. More recently, I had a fretless Fernandez bass guitar that is pretty beat up, but I've recorded a little bit of them, of course, with the flat wound strings as well. When it comes to guitar, I used to have a lot more guitars than that and a lot of other amplifiers. The amplifiers have been sold to deal with the COVID madness and to be able to have some cash. In any case, none of the ATHAK albums have ever been recorded with an amplifier mic'd. It's always been through the Motu, either through some plugins, some tune track sounds, or through my Sense amp that I had in the past, or now I'm using a 2-note Revolt amp, and more recently the Veloton. But this is not out yet. So amp wise, right now all I have is a very small Trackstar, what am I talking, Blackstar, just to rehearse at home and play at home, and then I have a cool music monitor for practicing the drum, playing along tracks, stuff like that. But otherwise it's all headphones. Living in Hong Kong, super small spaces, there is no place without neighbors. So except when I recorded the first 3 ATHAK albums, I was living in the deep countryside with no neighbors, and that's the only time I've recorded some acoustic drums. It's never been possible ever since. Cheers, everyone. Let's talk guitars. Okay, guitars. The main guitar for everything ATHAK is my Apex. Here's the beast. Let's put it here. Hope it doesn't fall because it's really shaped weirdly. Originally, this guitar was pink, sparkling pink. Apex guitar was a luthier in Pigalle, Paris that made a few guitars, very complicated electronic inside. This doesn't have any of the electronic. The neck feels a lot like a Stratocaster Fender. I have painted it a few times. This is the last iteration. It looks like a piece of marble. This is absolutely terrible paint job, completely cracked everywhere. And both the Apex and my Roxanne, my lag, have the same microphone setup. However, they sound completely different. So what it is, it's a Jazz and an Invader. Same over there. Seymour Duncan, both of them. Oh no, this one used to have the Invader down. It's a distortion now at the bottom. This guitar is very bright, and I love this dual setup because I have a very lightly distorted sound with the Jazz. I can go very clean very easily, and there is a very dark driven sound coming from the Invader. So when I go from the neck setup to the bridge, I can basically play from clean to distorted, and then both of them together make some really cool sounds. I have the tone and the volume for it. This is a great guitar. It's a very weird, oddball, alien, but I love this thing. Almost all of ATHAK is recorded on that. My other guitar is a French-made as well, Lag Roxanne, that I've had forever. Both of those guitars I've had since I was 15 or 16 years old. This, I think, was my 18th birthday gift. So I'm 43. You do the math. Those are old. It's with a Floyd Rose. It has tone, and it's got a coil split over here. The wiring of those pickups is horrible, so it cannot touch anything while I'm playing. I have to get this fixed, but great guitar. It's completely beaten up. I love it. And then I have a Yamaha. It's got a microphone inside. This is an island string guitar. Both my guitars are not at the moment. Okay, so that guitar alone, this is half wound, half flat, on this one, and I used to have the Alf flat there, but apparently I've replaced it by a regular guitar string set. I love the muted sounds of the Alf ones that I have on this and this. This is, I don't know, it just suits the music. Okay, so the rest of the studio is clothes furnitures, 3D printers, computers, mold making. I have my vinyl player over there that is plugged into my edifier sound system over there. PDH. This is the drum stand. It's a really nice drum stand. This is a very nice throne by PDH. That's really cheap. Let's see if there is a model name on it. So if you guys are interested. No, there is an address. You can talk to them. You can ask them what the hell this thing is. But that stand is very sturdy, and the raise is hydraulic like an office chair. So it's really cool. Super comfortable. So far pretty durable with a back on it. That cheapy is the same brand as well, the PDH. So I'm lucky enough to live here, and so I have access to the Chinese internet. And so whatever you get for cheap, usually on Alibaba or Temu or Amazon, I get it for way cheaper over here. And so here, recording vocals, I only have my Perception 120 left. I used to have a full set of acoustic microphones to record the drums, a full set of Shures and other kinds of microphone I could use for different things, but I had to sell everything out. I had a 5150 Mark 1 that I had to sell. I had a Spider Valve 2 from line 6 that I had to get rid of. I had bass amps that I had to get rid of. So it is what it is. And so dealing with the size of living, the fact that you have neighbors up, down, left and right, I'll try to shoot you a little bit the neighborhood so you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, people are nearby. There's a dude over there. There's a dude down here. There's a lady up there. There are people right over there. And so with that in mind, I have to be able to rehearse, I have to be able to practice, I have to be able to write, I have to be able to record, I have to be able to mix in this environment, which is creatively very interesting, and it is very locked onto myself. There are of course some recording studios in Hong Kong. I used to play with a band called Ludovico. They had a very large studio for rehearsal and practicing. It is linked to the price of the city. It is a rich man's hobby here to actually have time and space to play, and I have neither. So I'm in my tiny living situation and I'm enjoying it. I'm doing most of the things on headphones. I'll do a lot of the mixing with the studio monitors that I've had for a long time, and then I will listen to the mix on very different devices. I used to have cars. I would listen to the mix in the cars. I would listen to mix on headphones, on Bluetooth speakers, on small one speaker, mono speaker, etc, etc, etc. And so here you go. This is a little look around the studio. Of all the Chinese instruments that I have left, I only have my flute and my Turkish weird guitar from Wulumuchi from northern China. Here I used to have a pipa, a Chinese violin. I dreamed to have a Chinese harp, and I might get them back later on in the future, who knows. But so here you go. This is a little tour around my very humble recording and playing space for everything ATHAK. Maybe you have a smaller studio than I have. Who knows? If you do, post some pictures, write a comment, send a video in the where do you post videos on YouTube? I don't know, in the comment section. So here it is. This is a vlog number 4, trying to show you a little bit about the space where the sound is coming out of, because it's part of the sound, it's part of the experience. For me, the journey of ATHAK is the journey of me moving every year, me not owning anywhere where I am, meaning I need to rent, things needs to be movable, and the material changes all the time. So here you go. That might give you an insight into the project, the band, the sounds, and the process. Hope you get something out of it. I got a coffee out of it, and good time sharing with you. So, go listen to some Gwar, go listen to some ATHAK, have a coffee, and see you later. Bye-bye.